And we talked about this key level on ZBCN in the previous video. That was the 61.8% retracement. That was 0.005. That's where we got a double top. That's where we got a rejection. And now we're bouncing back, testing the bottom half of this trend. It's important that we do hold this level here, because if we drop, we're looking for further downside. That means that the bears have regained control at this level. This is going to be a rejection point, and then we're expecting further downside. So it's important that we understand and analyze exactly what's happening next. Are we likely to come back and test the 61.8 for the third time? Are we likely to break through that? It's all dependent on one thing. It's all dependent on Bitcoin. So we're going to look at Bitcoin, what Bitcoin needs to do, what Bitcoin dominance needs to do, what impact that's going to have on Zebec Network, and whether we're likely to break through these resistance barriers before we take back the 61.8% retracement and then start putting in new highs. Right, okay, we're going to slow this down a little bit. Where are we trading now? What needs to happen in the short term? Is there a likeliness that we're going to push back into this wedge? Are we going to break through that 61.8% barrier, which is 0.005, key psychological round number, 61.8% retracement? That's where we were overheated. That's where we got the double top. That's where we got the rejection. This is where we are now. So we need to understand what is the percentage chances of us breaking back into trend, and have we got enough momentum to be able to do that? It is dependent on a couple of things: indicators, reset. We're going to look at that very shortly. Before we do that, we're going to get into Bitcoin, because I've been talking about this level on Bitcoin, how important this range is here. This range had held for such a long period of time. Once we dropped the bottom of this range, that was your final support base. We got annihilated at this point, and Bitcoin went all the way down and tested 103,467. So this is the important thing that we need to do today. 107,223. We need a candle close above this level to hold support going into the coming days, and then start breaking through 110, breaking through 116, and then obviously the big rejection point is going to be 118,279, which represents the biggest area of traded volume within the whole of this range. So we need Bitcoin to do that today. Hold 107,223. If that happens going into the next couple of days, that's going to give conviction that alts can start performing, because there's confidence in the market. And then what will happen? Bitcoin dominance will start to drop. We've got this big rejection on Bitcoin dominance. That was positive. If we just zoom out on dominance, you could see, get a concept of this. This is where 2017 Altseason was. This is where 2021 Altseason was. It's going to be less. It's going to be smaller. But look where we are now in comparison to where we need to be if we hit Altseason like we did in 2021, like we did in 2017. So you can see we've got a big rejection point here. We were talking about this big rejection point. That was the top of the wedge. We just need this thing to drop hard. And that will be our Altseason 2025, the thing that we've been waiting for. So if we go back to Zebec Network, we need to understand, firstly, Bitcoin needs to regain that level. If Bitcoin regains this level, ZBCN will also regain this level. We've got 38.2. Let's mark this out. 38.2. Like I say, 0.041693. That's going to be the big resistance point that we need to overcome in the short term once we get back into this wedge. Once we do that, we can start breaking these levels, test the 61.8. Once you start creating a bit of a flag pattern like this, break through, and then hold that level as support. Once you're holding the 61.8 and 0.005 as support, that means that the bulls have fully regained momentum. How do we understand if they're going to likely regain momentum at any given time? We look at the indicators. You can see one thing. We talked about this level here. That was a resistance. That was 0.005. That was the 61.8% retracement. That was the area we got a double top, and that was the area we got slammed down. So what's happened? That was overbought, rejection. Now we're at an oversold level now. We're at a decent level on the RSI. We have got enough momentum. If Bitcoin pulls back into trend, start breaking through these barriers. So ultimately, it's going to be a waiting game going into the weekend, going into tomorrow, because the liquidity is low on the weekend. Then whether we get a market sentiment shift when we get the market open in the US on Monday morning, that is going to be the key as to what's going to drive the market going into next week. Are we going to be bullish? Are we going to be bearish? I haven't got a clue, guys, but all we need to do is analyze Bitcoin over the coming days to hold these key support barriers, the previous resistance that we now need to overcome. So let me know in the comments what you want me to cover next. Did you find this video useful? See you in the next one.